Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I'd like to discuss with you one of the questions that I get a lot lately, and that is how to mix different wood tones for an up-to-date interior. So this video will be dedicated to sharing my pointers and tips on how to go about it. You see, wood is on the rise and it's going to be huge over the next years, maybe much longer. I'm not really sure. That most of us don't go out and buy everything and decorate our homes in one sweep. So as we go along over a course of years, a number of years, we tend to add on different furniture pieces, and a lot of people get puzzled on what's the best way to bring and introduce new furniture pieces and mix and match them with old ones when it comes to different wood stains. So that's what I will share with you, my best tips on that. As always, the aim for any cohesive design scheme is to actually create continuity. So what you really want to do is have your colors blend into each other seamlessly. So let's start out with tip number one. The first thing that I want you to do is to identify the undertones of your wood, of your existing wood furnishings. Every wood has an undertone, and it either belongs on the warm or the cool color palette. So take a closer look on your woods and figure out where does it belong to. For example, mahogany tends to have a very dark red, so it's definitely a warm color. Now, if you do happen to have any beige wooden furniture, then you are probably the luckiest, because that is definitely one of the most neutral shades of wood you can get. It goes both either way, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Once you actually identify those undertones, then your next step would be to create a continuity based on those color accents. Therefore, do not underestimate the power of having pops of colors, especially when those pair and match very well the undertones of your wood. Cobalt blue, mustard yellow, terracotta orange reds are some of the most sophisticated colors that pair beautifully with brown. Mint, turquoise, and purple also look great. They're not usually my first choice, but that is something subjective, and there's nothing wrong with those combinations, just a personal preference of mine. Now, if you want to go even bolder, then Hermes orange and deep yellows are your go-to colors. Similarly, adding on metallic accents like gold and copper will never give you any fuss, because they will definitely embellish everything, giving it a bit of glamour and a bit of a luxurious feel to everything, taking away that rustic feeling that you might get if you have too many wood tones. So yes, do add metallic accents, and another thing that you may want to consider is adding some buffer zones. Textiles might do the thing for you. You know, adding a throw, for example, in the blend will definitely help you add a little bit of that buffer zone. It will not only layer in your upholstery and your fabrics and your colors and patterns, it will also create a nice buffer zone if you have too many wood tones going on together, and therefore that is a good way to go about it. Identify the wood grain and its complementary finishes. That is super essential when it comes to mixing wood tones. So it is really important to determine, out of all of your furnishings and belongings, which one is your most dominant wood tone. If you do happen to have a hardwood floor, then that would definitely be your dominant tone. That will be the one that everything else will have to pair with. If, for example, you don't have a hardwood flooring, then it is usually your biggest furnishing piece. Now, if that happens to be a bookcase like in my home, then that's the one that you will have to turn to and take a closer look at its grain and its finish and identify its undertones, because that will be the one that will determine everything else. It's best to opt for finishes that belong either in the warm color family or the cool one that will complement your dominant wood tone best. That's the key. That's all that you basically have to remember no matter what. To use those colors within the grain, your dominant wood grain, and try to match those. If you lie somewhere in between those, dark or light or anywhere, whatever the grains of your wood, that is your best way to go about it. That will be a safe way to go about it no matter what. Now, along with the continuity among colors, the other thing that you definitely want to strive for are contrasts, because they will add a different perspective in your room, in your interior. So while you're adding on your color accents, your little pops of colors here and there, you definitely also want to create contrast. One way to go about it is by adding black and white imagery, for example, because black stains, whether that's black decor or that art imagery that I just mentioned, it is a kind of way to define things and add on a fresh perspective, making things look a lot more contemporary, a lot more modern and fresh, and definitely a good way to change your outlook without too much. Therefore, do go for contrast, whether that is including different textiles and imagery, black stains, black decor, cement decor, whatever the case, you do need some accents, some contrast and some accents, and if you got those two things going on, then your room will work for you, will come together, I promise you. So let's recap some of the things that I mentioned. First things first, identify your undertones from your existing furniture. Then create a continuity via color accents. Pick a dominant tone from your largest surface, wooden surface, and identify its grain. Then pick its complementary finishes as opposed to the closest. Then the last step to put it all together would be to create contrast. Enough contrast will spice things up, give it an edgy, a more modern look, and put it all together. Make it a lot more cohesive, and it will feel a lot more fresh. The introduction of natural materials like cane or wicker will definitely give it a bit more fresh and up-to-date look as well, and it's a great way to make those wood tones transition even more smoothly. I hope you actually enjoyed this video and found my tips really helpful. Please, if you're new to this channel, do consider to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell to get a notification the next time we upload a new video. If you do have any concerns and comments or any questions regarding design, please do leave them down on the comment section, and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. Until then, wish you all the very best. Take care. Bye.